Hey, what is going on, everyone? It is me, Mr. Mario, and I think I came in a little hot on that intro, but anyways, I wasn't gonna do one of these videos, but I figured I had some time. I set some time aside. I'm like, I'm gonna do these. So I'm gonna be doing these in rapid fire. I'm probably gonna do the Sony one after this, and I'm doing this a day late, and then later on I'll do the Nintendo one. But in case you don't know, for the past few years since I've been doing stuff on my channel, since like 2012, I want to say, and I think I might have taken down the 2012 videos because they were kind of crap, but 2012, 2013, and now I've had this tradition where after the after all the press conferences, I will, go in while I'm watching the press conferences and all that, starting a little bit because I got off work, but while I'm watching the new press conferences and everything, I'll go in and I'll take notes, and then I will share, and annotate what I thought about each bit in each conference. And there seems to be a underlying tradition which with each one is what I noticed. Every one I've made, I am not at home. I am using a crap camera. I'm breaking that tradition because I'm using my DSLR now. There's minimal editing, so that is why on these videos there's not going to be an intro, outro music or anything like that. Although I am doing it like my regular vlog style videos because I do like retaining that video and audio quality. That is something I would like to keep. But yeah, so as you can see, I'm away from home and going to be doing the same thing, just going down this list of everything I have on here. So if I'm looking this way, that is due to the fact that right here I have my window set up, my desktop set up right here, one of the monitors, with my 2-page sheet that I wrote everything on, so, or technically typed, but whatever. Also, I'm wearing the hats just because people like the hats, and first off, I figured since the Microsoft one was first, and because my channel kind of got a bit big and kind of started with the Xbox modding and all, and a lot of people do like the Xbox videos, I figured the Microsoft one would probably be the one that got the most notoriety on this channel. Therefore, I brought back the fan favorite, which everyone seemed to like the Fox hat, so I have hats for everything, I guess. But anyways, as you can see, monitor in the back too. I'm going to have this relative to each console, each conference, each company I'm talking about. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and go into the E3 2014 wrap-up of the conference. So this kind of be a TLDR and my thoughts on it. But anyways, first off, we're going to be talking about the Microsoft conference. So they always seem to put on good conferences. I'm always happy with them. They always have hype to them. They're always very well done, except for a few here and there, but still, last year I'm kind of looking at you. Like, they had some good hype going on, but with the whole DR, that's going to be another video. I'm going to do an E3 wrap-up video as well, probably at the end of this week, and I'm going to talk about my thoughts on there, so I'm going to save my thoughts for it. But first off, Call of Duty Advanced Warfare, that was the first thing that got shown. Of course, every single Microsoft conference, can we just do something different? Because I think last year, did we start with Metal Gear? I don't remember, but it seems like every single Microsoft conference, they start off with the new Call of Duty game. Every year, that's it. And of course they were saying that the Xbox One is going to get the DLC first. Listen, I'm not a big Call of Duty fan, but whatever, I was just looking at it. Now, first off, I will say, despite my negativity towards Call of Duty, it looks really good. I was Skyping with a person while I was watching these. We were watching them together, and we both believed, I was the one who said it, but we both believed that this was more for show and more for a demo, and that the game is not going to look that good on retail, and I certainly don't think it's going to look that good when multiplayer comes around, because I even said when we were watching, I'm just like, look, they're showing all this innovation, they're showing the single player, it is impressive, don't get me wrong, it is impressive, but we're all going to hop into the multiplayer, and it's going to be the same thing come November, so that I just had to get my Call of Duty bashing out of the way. It looks like a bunch of stuff. It looks like they mixed in Titanfall, Gears of War, Crysis, and I will have to say, I've played through South Park: The Stick of Truth, and this is probably one of the funniest things I've seen in gaming. This whole, 5-minute demo for the new Call of Duty game, if you haven't seen it, just watch it, even if you don't like Call of Duty, okay? Because they had this shotgun that looked like it blasted people back with air, and then they had these grenades that you would throw them, and they looked like birds tweedling everywhere in the air, and then they would, it was hilarious. I was busting out laughing when I was watching the demo, but definitely one of the funniest Call of Duty things I've ever seen. And, oh, good thing I wrote it on here. There was also a dubstep red laser type gun. So, yeah, they took stuff from Saints Row 4 with that. Now, next up, they had the Forza stuff. Forza 5 is getting some DLC. They're getting new tracks and all. Of course, they're going to be getting new cars. And Forza always is loaded with DLC. It always is. Or I say Forza. It's supposed to be said Forza. You're supposed to put an invisible T in there. But I'm saying Forza, okay? Anyways. Forza 5 is getting some DLC. It's going to be free. And as of yesterday, what was that, June 9th? It should be out on the dashboard. So if you have the Xbox One, you have Forza 5, go ahead and pull that DLC. I actually haven't, so I'm going to have to get it at one point. But then they showed Forza Horizon 2, which I am super excited about this. I loved Forza Horizon. I did not finish it, but I still periodically go back and play. And that's really the only racing game that I really play. Now, a lot of people didn't like it because it is Forza, and it is completely different than the other ones. This one is more like the Need for Speed variant of Forza, while as Forza 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 are more like, you know, the driving simulation, you know, the beautiful cars, paying attention to the detail and all that. So, you know, two different audiences, but I personally really loved Horizon. I can't wait to play Horizon 2. Next up was Evolve. Oh, by the way, I'm trying not to backtrack on here too much, but one thing I did not like about Forza Horizon 2 is they were saying, you remember the Drivatar technology that completely changed around Forza 5? Well, now it's back in Forza Horizon 2, and your Drivatar from Forza 5 is now driving right now as we speak in Forza Horizon 2. And I'm just like, no, I don't want that. First off, I'm a terrible driver, but aside from that, as I was saying, there is a difference between the Forza games and the Forza Horizon games. Two completely different playstyles, two completely different setups. And I would like to start fresh in any game I join. I don't want my driving style and my Drivatar from one game to bounce over to the other. So I hope there's going to be a way to disable it, but I honestly kind of doubt it. But I don't know, we'll see what happens. Probably when I sign in the day it comes out, I'm going to have a bunch of credit from driving around, even though I haven't, but I don't know. Next up was Evolve. This game, to me, just looks fantastic. I loved Left 4 Dead. I still love Left 4 Dead to this day. I still play the games. I still absolutely love them. And it is from the creators of Left 4 Dead. So pretty much, it's like Left 4 Dead, except not as cartoony. It's more realistic, I guess, with the graphics and all that. But darker, much grittier, and it's 4 versus 1. So I think it's going to be the same thing as Left 4 Dead, where there's not really a story, or there might be a very paper-thin underlying story if you really follow the lore of it. But it's pretty much 4 people versus 1 monster. You can either play as the person, or you can play as the monster. Now, if you are doing that, I hope they're going to do the same thing as Left 4 Dead, not Horde mode, but Versus mode, that was it. In case you don't know, with Left 4 Dead, there is Versus mode, where Left 4 Dead, you are going with 3 other people that you're co-oping with, and you all are human survivors, and you are going in and pretty much killing all these zombies. Now, if you play in Survivor mode, I keep saying that, if you play Versus mode, you can play the same thing, the campaign, as the humans, or you can play as the special zombies. So you have 4 people that are special zombies, 4 people that are humans. Now the zombies, their goal is to make sure the humans don't finish the level. The humans, their goal is to finish the level. It is very fun. I would highly recommend playing it if you have Left 4 Dead or access to Left 4 Dead 1 or 2. But anyways, Evolve looks great. I'm definitely playing it, for sure. Like, almost every game on this game I'm going to be playing, except, well, the one that comes up next. Assassin's Creed Unity. I'm not a big Assassin's Creed fan, honestly. I thought the first one was fantastic, and then I played the second one. It wasn't my cup of tea. And after that, you know, they just kept pumping them out, and they were milking it, and I don't think it should be a yearly series. I really don't. However, I might have to give this one a rental at one point, because I know several people that are going to play it. And now you can actually do 4-player co-op in the single-player story mode. So you can have 4 assassins, which, it was insane. It really was. If you watch the gameplay footage, it's insane. Graphics didn't really impress me, to be honest, but hey, you know what? It is what it is, I guess. Then they had Dragon Age Inquisition. I played a little bit of the first Dragon Age, haven't played Dragon Age 2, I've heard a lot about them, though, and I don't know if this is what they were trying to go for. The game looks good. Don't get me wrong, it looks good. Looks like it'll be a fun game, but it really looks like it's ripping off the Witcher series, which if you haven't played the Witcher series, I'd highly recommend trying out Witcher 2, especially with Witcher 3 around the corner, because it is a fantastic series. I had fun with the second one, the little bit of it I played, and this kind of looks like it's ripping it off a little bit, but that's kind of what's going on with games here and there. Next up, Sunset Overdrive. So Sunset Overdrive came on stage. they were breaking the fourth wall and all that, and it's by Insomniac Games. In case you don't know, this is the new game that Insomniac is pushing out. This is supposed to be a new IP for the Xbox One and for Microsoft and the Xbox brand. And people have been hyping it up. Now, the game does look fun, don't get me wrong, but I feel like people are hyping this up because, let's be honest here, there's really nothing big out on the Xbox One, or really, in hindsight, aside from Halo. Spoiler alert, they did not show Gears of War at all here. I was disappointed with that. But you know what I mean. Sony seems like they have more IPs and more original games coming out to look forward to than the Xbox One. Same thing with the Wii U. I haven't seen the conference yet for that, but there are more original games coming out for that than the Xbox One right now. That could all change, for sure. But I feel like the reason why this game is getting so hyped up is because of that. But talking about the actual game, it looks really fun, and what did I say here? It was making fun of Call of Duty as well. Just watch the gameplay, I'd highly recommend that. But there is, like, the first minute or so, it looks like Call of Duty. Super, realistic, nitty-gritty graphics, guy in, all military camo and gear with a gun holding out against a lot of people. Then all of a sudden you see this goofy guy come in, and the game looks fun, but it also looks like if that gameplay is going to be what it was, the game is going to be very repetitive. So we'll see how it is. Next up, Dead Rising 3. How you might be asking, Mario, wasn't Dead Rising 3 a launch title for the Xbox One? It was. But they are having some DLC come out, which I don't have the name of it, but they were pretty much making fun of themselves, Capcom was. For the 31st anniversary of Capcom, they're doing it's supposed to be like Dead Rising 3 Ultra Alpha something versus edition and all that. They put like every single thing in there that was not turbo, but it is pretty much all new characters, all new weapons, up to 4-player co-op on there, and I believe, don't get me wrong on this, but the DLC might be free, because I haven't checked on here yet, but I have not heard anybody say anything about a price difference or a price on this DLC. But apparently this is now available for the Xbox One right now. So if you hop on your Xbox One, probably in the future if you're watching this, you could probably get it on PC due to the fact that it was announced about a week ago Dead Rising 3 is coming out on PC. But if you have an Xbox One, you can go ahead, download that, you can start wreaking havoc. And the funny thing was, I even said this at the beginning when I was talking with my friend, but I was like, so many people called this, and this is actually happening, because now you can play as Frank West, you can play as pretty much all the Dead Rising characters, and then some. And I had people that said they will not buy Dead Rising 3 until the inevitable Dead Rising 3 Frank West edition comes out. And that is what's happening right now. You can play as Frank West in this DLC. Next up, there were 2 dancing games. There was a Dance Central Spotlight game, there was a Fantasia game, which they really didn't show anything with. And by the way, I told my friend on there, I said, because if you watch the conference, it shows my favorite game, my favorite moment in gaming, things like that. And the guy who was in charge of Harmonix, they asked him what his favorite game was, and he was so conceited and so arrogant about it because his favorite game was Rock Band. It's kind of an unspoken rule, but if you're gonna put something for your favorite game, put something that you have not had any development on. Put something that your company that you're in charge of did not make. Even if you have to lie. Even if you have to lie, just do it. But yeah, apparently the president of Harmonix, his favorite game is Rock Band. Go figure. He's the only guy I saw that did something like that. Not even the Activision people said Call of Duty was their favorite game. But anyways, next up, Fable Legends was out. I think there's going to be 4-player co-op on this, and for what it is, I mean, it looks like a Fable game. It's not really anything super impressive, but it just looks like it's a continuation. It's kind of a new story with Fable, and they're throwing in, more co-op and everything. Anything is better than Fable 2's co-op, where you had to share the screen online, which was completely pointless, but yeah, Fable Legends, that was it. In case you don't know, it might seem like I'm kind of iffy about this conference. The conference had a lot of hype to it, but the game selection was kind of lukewarm. I'm going to admit that, because I'm not looking at this from any fanboy perspective. In fact, I am trying to be critical, just because if we're going to be spending money on these games and systems, we better be critical of what we're getting. Now, next up, they had Project Spark. And the perfect thing to lead this in was they were talking about if you could combine two of your favorite games, what would you play? So Project Spark, in case you don't know, is pretty much a make-it-yourself game. I'm really hoping it's going to succeed because it looks interesting. I just hope they do something nice. But you could do anything on it from what I've seen. You could do an RTS. You could do a first-person shooter. You could really do anything on there. And here is like, this was the peak of the Xbox Microsoft conference for me. I was speechless at this point. Just go and look up Project Spark E3 2014 Conquer. Just something like that. Conquer the Squirrel, the character from Conker's Bad Fur Day, which is one of my all-time favorite games, along with probably my all-time favorite, if not one of my all-time favorite N64 games. Conker the Squirrel, the main character from there, shows up at the end of it. They have the Project Spark thing, they have the logo, and then all of a sudden you see all these little squirrels running behind it, and then Conker comes out with a shotgun. He goes over to the Project Spark logo and just starts ripping it in half with a chainsaw, just like he did at the beginning of Conker's Bad Fur Day with the N64 logo. Then it comes back up and he says something along the lines of, well, it's been over 10 years since I've been in a game, so make it. It was something like that. I probably messed it up, but I'm paraphrasing. Anyways, it is so bittersweet because Conker is back, but Microsoft, you could have. Why don't we have a new Conker? That's what I'm trying to ask. Why don't we have a new Conker? That's all I want. That's all I want. If you could do that, maybe Banjo-Kazooie, maybe throw in Perfect Dark in there. A lot of people will buy your system. A lot of people that hate the Xbox One, that hate the Xbox logo, not logo, the whole Xbox brand, will buy your system just for those games because you have the rights to them. I'm done with that. I'm done. It was that was definitely a speechless moment for me because I was so happy, but at the same time, just like, shit. They completely. I don't even know the words for it. Like, I'm still speechless about it. But yeah, one of my favorite characters. He is going to be on the Xbox somehow, but I don't know how. I'm probably going to play Project Spark just to see what's up with Conker. But if somebody... I'm just waiting for somebody to completely redo Conker's Bad Fur Day, like level for level, on there. Because that would just be fantastic. Now, going on with that, we're going to move off that or else I'm going to start yelling. No, I thought it was Oni. It's Ori and the Blind Forest. The game looks amazing. From what I saw, it's going to be an arcade title from what I've seen, and it looks a lot like if you took Miyazaki, the guy who does, the Totoro anime, if you've seen Princess Mononoke, anything like that, that guy, the brainchild of all that, if you took Miyazaki and told him, hey, make Limbo, which is also one of my favorite games, this would pretty much be what he pumped out. It looked great. They didn't show that much of it, but I'm very interested in it. Now, right here, this is pretty much, the biggest thing for Microsoft that they have going right now. And to me, this is probably my favorite part of the conference, at least, aside from Conker, because that was just awesome and so rage-inducing at the same time. It's a total cash-in, but I'm definitely going to get it. In fact, I have this pre-ordered. But Bonnie Ross came out. She's the head of Bungie, and by the way, I think she's cute, but she came out and she starts talking about Halo. Now, this is what they're doing for Halo. They went all Halo for like 5 or 10 minutes, and this was just exciting. Okay, now, first off, what they are doing, they are taking not just Halo 2, but on November 11th of this year, which I believe, someone correct me if I'm wrong, please, I believe that is the 10th anniversary of Halo 2 when it first came out. On November 11th of this year, they are going to be releasing Halo 2 Anniversary. But not just that. For the Xbox One, they're going to be releasing the Halo Master Chief Collection, which is going to have Halo Anniversary, Halo 2 Anniversary, Halo 3, Halo 4. They have confirmed it will be running at 1080p 60 frames a second. It is going to have 1,000 gamer score for every game, so the game will technically ship with 4,000 gamer score. I'm very excited about this. It's going to ship with all of that. With Halo 2, at least, they're doing the same dual engine thing which they did on Halo Anniversary. In case you did not play Halo Anniversary, they did a complete remake, but they were running the original game on top of the new engine. Pretty much they had the original game, and on top of that, they had the nice, new, pretty, glossy Halo Reach engine running. So what you were doing was when you're playing through the game, it looks like Halo Reach. But if you hit the back button on your controller, your screen would fade out, fade back in, and you would go play the original Halo game. And to me, I just want to go off on this. People said that was a bad remake. Explain to me how it was a bad remake, because to me that actually set the bar for remakes. They did an exact 1-to-1 ratio, 1-to-1 copy. They did a carbon copy of Halo, then just changed the cosmetics. That's all they did, and they even gave you the option to go back. It was so down to the finest points. It was so down to the small fine points, to the point where they left in the infinite ammo glitch, which I would always do. I'll show that on here if people want me to at one point, excuse me. They kept the infinite ammo glitch, and they even kept in all the little glitches. Like, for example, when you go from one point to another and it says loading in the corner, the game stutters for about a second. They kept all of that in. That is how a remake should be to me. Even with Zelda Legend of Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. I'm so fried right now, but from work, don't worry. But with Ocarina of Time, when they re-released that on the 3DS, they actually fixed up a few glitches, but there were a lot that they didn't fix, just because they wanted that nostalgia factor to stay in there. So they're having this whole collection right here, and the best part, one of the best parts is they're keeping Halo 2 the same way. They're going to be running it dual engine, but they said, we know that you all loved Halo 2's multiplayer. We loved it too. So we are going to be shipping Halo 2 on November 11th with the exact same multiplayer that it shipped with 10 years ago. And they even showed about a minute of footage of it, which it looks fantastic, you all. It looks great. Now the question is, are they going to keep in super bouncing, BXRs? Are they going to keep any of that stuff? I really want to know that. We're going to see, because you're going to see if they keep that in, you're going to have the people that played Halo 2 religiously just on top of the people who have never played it before, because all these people are going to be super bouncing around and they're going to be using BXRs and all that. So that was one thing as well. I used to argue when I was younger, I used to argue that Halo 2's multiplayer was buggy compared to Halo 3. And the excuse my friend gave, which was, it kind of holds weight, I told him there's the super bounce and the BXR, and he told me, well, everyone knows about the super bounce and the BXR, so it's a balanced game. Everyone who plays Halo 2 knows about those glitches. But yes, it's also going to be $60 as well, and I swear there was something else I was missing. Oh yes, there's also going to be over 100 multiplayer maps, because you're going to have, I hope they keep the Halo 1 multiplayer the same. Not the Reach multiplayer, but they're going to have Halo 1, 2, 3, and 4, and I assume all the DLC maps with them, which I'm really excited about, because I've still not played the Halo 4 DLC maps because none of my friends have the DLC for it. So, we'll go ahead and give it a shot. But yes, that's going to be happening. I'm very excited about that. In addition to all of that, they also said, with all of that in one package. Thank you, Train, for cutting me off. See, we're keeping this casual. With all of that in one package, they are also going to include, what is it called? Halo Nightfall. They're at least going to include one episode of this TV series they're doing, and probably some sneak previews and all that. I at least heard that. And they're also going to be including a Halo 5 Guardians beta, which of course I'm going to be all over that. So actually, out of all the games I saw yesterday, Sony's included, this is the only one I pre-ordered, because all the other games I'm going to be able to at least try through GameFly and then decide if I want to purchase later. But with the Master Chief Collection, even Halo 5, there's not going to be a reason for me to not own them. So that was the peak of it for me. I was really excited at that, and even my friend just like, oh, Danny, here's your Halo. I'm like, yes, this is my Halo. I'm very excited about this. So you know what I can also say about this? I'm fully aware that I'm excited for HD remakes. Screw you. I'm excited for them. Anyways, with all of that, next up, they went up with Inside, which they heavily hinted at this, because when you see Phil Spencer come out, which Phil Spencer, by the way, awesome job. You did a fantastic job if you're watching this, which I doubt you are, but Phil Spencer was hinting at this because he came out all of a sudden with a Limbo shirt. And he then introduced Inside. And Inside, it is like a nitty-gritty, more modernized version of Limbo. I don't know if it's the same company that's doing it, but I loved me some Limbo. I'm definitely going to be playing Inside. Then they finally showed ID at Xbox. In case you don't know, this actually means indie developer at Xbox. And they showed a ton of indie games, and guys, they look so good. And by the way, if anyone wanted to know about this, at one point they said, we treat our indie developers right, we give them free dev kits. If you caught them say that and you were confused about it, dev kits do cost a lot of money. Now, with the Xbox One, the nice thing about it is if you register for an ID at Xbox account and you're able to get in, you can convert your retail $400 or $500 Xbox One console over to a dev kit just like that. So if I want to, I can go to Best Buy, and if I'm registered through Xbox at ID, I just register my Xbox through developer settings, and I'm able to get in. So don't try it at home. Don't try it at home, seriously, unless you're ID at Xbox. And if you're in there, you're developing games, you're probably not watching this video, and you probably know how to get in. But that is what they meant by that. So honestly, all the games looked pretty good, and I'm going to want to play all of them. I hope they do something like the indie marketplace with the 360 so that they're going to have the games at discounted rates, so maybe $1, $5, $10 games like they're already doing, which would be nice. But the only game I didn't like was the 2048 clone. I don't know what they called it, but it was an exact ripoff of 2048. Like, you know, the little mobile phone game where you have to get up to 2048 exactly. With all of that, indie games were done. Then they had Rise of the Tomb Raider, and this looked really good. I'm gonna see, you know, what platforms it comes out on and everything, and I'll be happy as long as they don't release a definitive edition like last time. But I loved the Tomb Raider reboot that came out. I actually played it twice. I played it on 360, then I played it again on PS4. It was a great game. I like good games, that's just me, but I'm happy it's getting a sequel, because even though, yes, it is a reboot, I don't know how well it sold, but it was just a ridiculously good game. I really enjoyed it, and I feel like I'll enjoy this one. After that, they then had Witcher 3 Wild Hunt, which I was impressed how well it was running on the Xbox One, but let's just be honest, looking at, you know, Microsoft's history with E3, we're gonna see what happens. Also, Ubisoft, I'm looking at you. Yeah, you, all the downgrades, all the games you show at E3, and they look like half as good when they retail, I'm looking at you right now. Anyways, Witcher 3, I thought it looked good. It's pretty much, how can I explain it? For people that have never played it, I'm trying to say it's kind of like a more action-y version of Skyrim, like Skyrim with actual combat, combined with the decision tree of Mass Effect. That's how I'm trying to explain to someone who has never played the series. But it looks good. I'm definitely going to try it. I'm kind of wanting to try it on PC so I could see how, you know, how far I can wreck my video card on here, but we'll just see what happens. Speaking of Ubisoft, actually, there was a reason why I brought this up. They showed The Division after that, which I'm pretty sure, I'm pretty sure this is by Ubisoft. I mean, it looks okay. I'm not seeing the hype behind it. I saw people that were saying this is the best game at E3. It looks fantastic. I will admit I didn't see the E3 or Ubisoft conferences, but even if I saw them, I don't know. I don't think I would have been wowed by it. I mean, I'm sure when the game comes out, I'm going to try it. I'm going to enjoy it for what it is. I hope I do, at least, but I don't know, after what Ubisoft does and all, I'm kind of iffy with their things, to be honest, just because there's been a lot of games that have come out by them. They've been glitched, they've been bugged, they've been delayed, they've been downgraded. Like, I'm one of those people, I might as well just stop watching the Ubisoft trailers and the previews and then just get the game so I could be like, oh, hey, this game is actually not too bad, as opposed to what I see before. And it's like, oh, this game ran beautifully, and now it's like, pfft. Okay, enough Ubisoft stuff. 2 more games after this. They had Scalebound, which, let's see, it's a new title by Platinum Games. Apparently, this is supposed to be a new exclusive on the Xbox One, so hooray, Xbox One gets a new IP. And it looks good, but the thing is, it looks like pretty much all the games that Platinum Games has put out. So, to me, I mean, they're an alright developer, but, like, really, did they do Bayonetta? I want to say they did Bayonetta. I believe, which, by the way, what happened with Bayonetta 2? I'm gonna hope they talk about it in Nintendo Direct, but they did Bayonetta. I'm pretty sure they did. They did Anarchy Reigns. They did Metal Gear Rising, and like every Platinum Games game to me like looks and plays the same. I'm not gonna lie, like they do. I don't really see a difference between the two. They kind of look like reskins, but I'll still try it out because I'm just gonna be open with all games that I give a try to. So we'll see how it is. Finally, they had Crackdown 3, which this could be either very good or very bad. Now, I personally loved the first Crackdown to the point where I've played it multiple times. But I hated Crackdown 2 because it was done by a different team, a different company, and it was just boring overall. It lost its allure. And really, I feel like the first Crackdown was so good due to the fact that it was by Real-Time Worlds at the time, and they had to make something good. Because in case you don't know, when the original Crackdown came out, it shipped with the Halo 3 beta. So most people literally paid $60 to play the Halo 3 beta. Then when the Halo 3 beta was over, they're just like, well, I have this game Crackdown right here. Let's just go ahead and pop it in. Oh my god, this game is actually pretty good. And that's what happened. So I feel like that's how Crackdown, got so cashed out. Sorry, I thought my roommate was there. I'm going to have to check in with them at one point. But I feel like that's how Crackdown got so cashed out with everything. Now, one thing with Crackdown 3 is this gives me a little bit of hope. It does look good, but the original game creator or creators are apparently going to be working on this. So I do have some high hopes for this one. But we'll just see what happens. I personally really like Crackdown. If they can bring back that same magic, that same fun factor that the first Crackdown had, I'll be happy. That's it. But if it's like Crackdown 2, it's going straight in the garbage bin. Even though I kind of have it on my shelf because I collect games. But whatever. It's all good. Anyways, that is pretty much the wrap-up for the Xbox One Microsoft conference. Overall, the conference was good. The games could have been better, but you know what I'll say? There was no DRM stuff going on. There was no console war going on. It was games. That was it. In fact, technically, I'm going to talk about this in my next conference thing, maybe, but technically, Sony talked about TV more than Microsoft this conference. Think about that. Yep. Anyways, this is Mr. Mario, signing off. Thank you for watching, everyone. I'll be throwing up my Sony video next, and these are probably going to be late because my upload speed sucks, but hey, we'll see what the deal is. Anyways, kind of going to be doing these back-to-back, but later, everyone.